Today I am making a video to show any of the 50 parents, how to possibly work on your own bike and swap a top end out on a KTM Mini. Here are the tools that I'm going to be using. I got a small torque wrench. We got the gaskets. So we have the base gasket. We have the cylinder head O-rings. Also have some O-rings for the manifold just in case we need to replace that. Of course, the top end kit. Assembly lube. Got a pick, spring tool, a couple different millimeter wrenches, T-bar, and a set of sockets here. The other tool that I have here is a new tool that I'm going to try. It's something that is meant for helping getting these C clips in. So we'll see how it works. So what we're going to go ahead and do is the first thing is we're going to get this gas tank off, take the seat off. We're going to pop that bolt out, and then we're going to come over to the other side here, and we're going to shut the gas off and disconnect the gas line. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get these two springs off right there. And then also remove that bolt right here to pull this out of the way so we can then access that top end. So this will actually just kind of wiggle its way out. Kind of wiggles out right here. And then that piece from right there. So once you remove that bolt and the two springs, this wiggles itself out. The next thing that we're going to do is we want to go ahead and get this oil tank off. So before I take that oil tank off, I'm going to go ahead and take these radiators off. So I got to get these drained out. Take the radiators off is pretty easy. Just end up being two screws right here. These bolts just need to come out. And then what we'll do is get these out of the way and then jump over to the oil tank. So we got that first radiator on the left side undone. So now we're gonna move over here and get this side. So we'll pop off the fin, and there are two bolts behind this fin that we'll go ahead and remove. Fin's off now, and you can see those two bolts right here. Those two bolts come off. We'll go ahead and loosen that, and that'll just slide this radiator out. So we'll just jump in here and start loosening these up. So we got that second radiator off on the right hand side. Next thing that we're going to do is remove this oil tank here, reservoir, and we're also going to unplug the spark plug here. So I'm going to come around to the left side of the bike, pop the spark plug off, and then also we're going to pull those two bolts off. One right here and one up here, and that's going to pop off that oil reservoir. What we're going to do next is we're going to remove the 5 bolts on top of the cylinder here. So we're going to go ahead and get those removed. We got all the bolts loose. We can go ahead and just kind of wiggle that loose, and off she comes. So the one thing you are going to have in here is you're going to have some rings there. We're going to want to replace those. The next step we're going to do is we need to go ahead and remove the 4 bolts holding the cylinder head on. So we have 2 on the right side and then 2 on the left here. So I was able to get this broke free here. I'll pull the gasket off. Want to be careful we don't scratch the inside at all. Just being really careful with this. Next step we're going to do is just inspect the cylinder head. Make sure we're not getting any scratches or anything like that in here. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to want to go ahead and get this top end actually removed, and we'll show you that step a little closer. So the next thing that we got to do is we got to get these little rings out here. They sit right in here, and so you kind of just gently pry them off. You can get them to pop out, then that breaks it free. So we have this little clip that sat in there, pull that off. So we're going to do the same to the other side. We have that C-clamp out. This just pushes out to the other side. So once we remove this out here, we can set that out of the way, and we can go ahead and pull this off, and we can go ahead and also take this bearing out as well. So what I'll do is I'll go through and get this all cleaned up and wiped down. We also want to make sure that there's no marks where the gasket goes. We want a nice clean seal. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up here and come back to the next step. So before we go to the next step, we also want to make sure that we have something covered here so we don't have anything drop into the bottom end of the bike. So just put a towel, something there, just to keep things out. So the next thing we're gonna do is go in and get this top end ready, this piston, to get installed. So the first thing I gotta put is to put this ring on. Pretty much just get one side on here and just feed it around. Get it nice in there on that. Next, I'm gonna get a little bit of Disassembly lube in here. We're gonna put this back in here, give it a little spin. Notice we do have an arrow that's pointing towards the exhaust. So we want to be really careful because these fins right here, very, very, easily broken or chipped. So we want to just be careful, get that set in. And then we're going to go ahead and put that cylinder in here. So we got that started back here. What we did is we just started pushing that cylinder, getting that in here, getting that set in there. So we have that seated nice and good in here. The next thing we gotta do is put in the clips. One of the tricks to putting that cylinder on is you're gonna have to, you can see there's a little notch there. You gotta squeeze that ring and then slide the cylinder over it. So as you can see, it kind of is up. You squeeze that in there. You want it to line up with that hole right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that, and it takes two hands on that one. So we're gonna pinch that, slide the cylinder head on, and go from there. As you can see, I have this ring right here kind of clamped together and pushed, and as this slides in, it holds it, kind of holds it there. So now we just work it on down. Now we got it seated nicely. Go ahead and get the all the nuts on. Gotten everything tight, fluids back in it, ready to start it up tomorrow. But again, I'm just a 50 dad keeping his kid on the track. I definitely am not a professional. Some of the things that I do might not be the way it should be done, just how I learned. I've never worked on bikes before we bought a 50, so pretty much just me just tinkering with this and taking it apart and giving it a shot and keeping my son on the track. So saving a little bit of money when I can. thanks for watching it. And if you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see other videos, maybe I can post those on other pieces of the bike that I've done and been able to take this bike completely apart and put it back together. So if you have questions, let me know.